It's John here from SKN3. I thought I'd just do a video entry to show some of the bits I'm talking about in this very long-winded blog. And I just thought I would demonstrate to you the cutscene thing I'm talking about. So the Swing engine, it's been developed like many of the other frameworks out there, where you have a scene-based model where each of the elements of your game is kind of treated as a separate scene, and you then add objects to that scene, and then you add different layers for each part of the game you want. So for example, if you had a UI interface, you could add a layer to that scene and then add your UI interface objects to that layer. So a lot of the bits I worked on before the company officially started, it was on the Swing cutscene module for the framework. And back then it wasn't sort of formally known as Swing. I just developed the cutscene bit in its own right. But the cutscene bit, it actually allows you to write an XML script. With that XML script, you can sort of define some objects exactly like a class, and then you can define methods or member functions that the objects have. So, for example, in the context of a cutscene, you could create a character class, and this would be sort of imported as a base script anyway. But the character class, it could have certain animations, it could have certain abilities like to walk in a certain direction, and etc. So anyway, the cutscene library, it's got a fully threaded scripting runtime. So you can feed in a script, you can import other scripts, you can have functions running in the background, you can create objects and have a thread running for each object, and they can manipulate the scene and do whatever you like, really. So what I'm going to do, after deciding if I want to have a shade, obviously, is going to give you a demonstration on the iPad. So I'll try and keep the camera nice and steady. So let's go. We load up the cutscene. So excuse the copyrighted characters, because the language I'm writing it in is actually called Monkey. So quite fittingly, I'm using some graphics from the Monkey Island series of games. As you can see. So you can see I'm touching the screen here, and there's like a little hand icon bouncing up and down. And these are all bits of the Swing engine at work. So you have a tweening library, which is letting the hand move, and you have a touch input library, all very standard parts of any kind of framework. So you can see there, I had two characters moving at once, and I briefly mentioned about the threads, and in the background I've set up these two characters, and they're independent object. And I told this character here to start walking and put that within a thread XML tag. And so that LeShark he'll carry on walking by himself until he reaches a point. As you can see, he's stopped there. But at the same time, Guybrush came out from this side and sort of said his piece in the scene. So again, that's in another thread. So those two scripts are running at the same time, and all I have to do is, one or two lines of code which just tell it to split that action into its own loop. So anyway, that's just an example of the cutscene library. There's essentially many more bits I'll be adding over the time of the Swing engine. But I think this is quite an interesting one because it gives you a visual element, and it's not really one you see all of the time in other frameworks out there. They kind of tend to just sort of lay the groundworks and let you do the other bits yourself. So I think it's made sense for me to do this. So hopefully you enjoy it.